Today I'm going to be breaking down Shayo by Darkoo and Tion Wayne, where as usual I'm going to be talking you through the various elements that I'm picking up on as we go through it. Now before we do actually go ahead and get into the video, if you're interested in my setup, i.e. headphones, mic and camera, there are links to those in the description below, so if you want to check those out then you can. Also, if you are on TikTok and you want to drop us a follow, you want to show us some love, then by all means feel free. Let's get into some new music.
Shayo, I just want to sip in the sea, let me Shayo. When it's all said and done, Mama said make sure you're number one, so we can chill, drink, vibes and ting, sip on a wine and ting, flexing, wear your bling, deep with the ice feeling, no I don't show me.
Okay, right, so we've just entered into the pre-chorus, so let's cover off the intro and what we've heard in the first verse. Kicking off with the intro then, so we get opened up, we've got these really nice electric guitars and they are driving the main melody of the track. We've got Darkoo's vocals, they come in, and for anybody that's interested, it's actually a snippet of the chorus. Now as we progress on into the intro, we get this higher layer that comes in. Could be an instrument, could be an effect, you know, whichever one of those it is, but it comes in and it's like a like this, and it slowly fades out just before we get into the first verse. Now another thing that you notice is that there's no big transitions that take us out of the intro into the first verse, and this is perfectly fine because we have an acoustic intro, so we don't need one. When we do hit the first verse, beat comes in, we get Darkoo's vocals, we reach the second segment of the verse, and this is where we get a glimpse of the bass. You notice that it's not in there all the time, but another thing that we get in the second segment are these kind of ad-libs, which are really nice, like layered and present on the track. And then the final thing just to pay attention to here is just the switch up in flow. So in the first segment, you notice that Darkoo's vocals are much more kind of spaced out, whereas when we hit that second segment, they got much more of a kind of pacey rhythm to them. So let's go back, let's listen. Guitars, snippet of the chorus, and there's that layer. Beat.
When it's all said and done, Mama said make sure you
pay attention to the flow. It's going to switch up now.
So we can chill,
bass,
vibes and ting, sip on a wine and ting, flexing.
There are those ad-libs.
Deep with the ice feeling, no I don't show me. Every day we getting money, even if my pastor say no darling. Nah. Blessings them are coming, no I don't show me. Every day we getting money, even if my pastor say no darling. Nah. Blessings them are coming, yeah.
That chorus bangs. Follow-ups. Okay, right, so before we get into Tion Wayne's part, let's cover off what we've had in the pre-chorus and in the chorus. So the first thing that I want you to pay attention to that happens in the pre-chorus is what's going on with the bass. You notice that the bass is way more consistent in the pre-chorus than what it's been in the verse. And it would be, right, just by default, because the bass hasn't really made an appearance, as we've already discussed. The second thing to pay attention to here is vocal game, right? Like this gets leveled up big time. We've got ad-libs, responses, we've got vocal runs, we've got harmonies all being packed into that pre-chorus. And then the final thing to pay attention to on the pre-chorus is this kind of introduction or this additional layer of hi-hats. Like we get nice and crisp, nice and present on the track. Now, shifting over to the chorus, just actually one main thing to focus on here, and that's the bass. You notice that it actually gets stripped out of the mix in the chorus, and actually that's a good thing because this chorus is very vocally kind of driven, and you know we can tell that by the way that that bass does get removed, but then again those vocals, they get leveled up and they become big, fat, wide, present, all that good stuff that we want from a chorus. So let's go back, let's listen.
Vibes and ting, sip on a wine and ting, flexing, where you bling.
Right, pre-chorus coming in.
Every day we get
Bass.
money. Even if my pastor sing
Listen to those hi-hats.
Blessings them are coming. I don't show me.
Harmonies.
Every day we getting money. Even if my pastor sing no darling. Blessings them are coming.
Vocal runs. Bass removed now.
I just want to see Shayo.
And those vocals bang.
Yo, Tion Wayne from the 9. Yo, I hope God can forget the crime shit. I went church, I had to take my knife in. But I prayed and it was timing. Yeah. Now the Lambo, 0 mileage.
Tape stop.
I was riding, gliding, without no knowledge. In a jail life, 16, eating on porridge. Now we're warriors, drank any in college. Notorious, like Christopher Wallace. I'ma say it, I'ma spray it, I'm not gonna stop. They can't take me away, I got my Glock. On my days,
Hi-hats back
I
in.
just don't trust. But if the shape figure 8, I'm just gonna fuck. Yeah, let me Shayo. Cause I got my PTSD straight off the road. Yeah.
Okay, right. Yeah, that absolutely bangs. So let's cover off Tion Wayne's verse. So let's talk track structure first. You notice that in Tion Wayne's verse, the structure of the track is either exactly the same or it is incredibly similar to what we had in Darkoo's verse, right? So for example, no bass in the first segment, comes in or makes a slight appearance in the second segment, and then in the final segment, it's in there pretty consistently. And the same applies to those crisp hi-hats. The second thing I want you to pay attention to is what's going on with the guitars. Now, as far as I can hear, there is a slight difference in terms of rhythmic pattern with those guitars in Tion Wayne's verse than what there is in Darkoo's verse. The third thing to pay attention to, and this is more for aspiring artists and producers, is what they do with Tion Wayne's vocals. You notice that some of those back end phrases, they get doubled up, but there's also times within it where those double ups are actually consistent, not just being applied to the back end phrases. But what you also notice is that there's some ad-libs being thrown in there as well. Final thing to pay attention to is what happens when we get towards that back end. This is where Tion Wayne shifts into that singing tone, which actually is really nice because it creates a shift and a bit of a contrast. But pay attention to what happens to the percussions, right? There's a filter that gets applied to them. They kind of get this boxed in type of sound. And as we head out, they begin to expand, where we then get a cut and boom, we go into the chorus. So let's go back. Let's listen.
Shayo, I just want to see let me Shayo.
Yo, Tion Wayne from the 9. Yo, I hope God can forget the crime.
No bass.
I went church, I had to take my knife in. But I prayed and it was
to the
timing.
guitars.
Now the Lambo, 0 mileage.
Tape
I was
stop.
riding, gliding, without no knowledge.
Glimpse to
In
the
a jail
bass.
life, 16, eating on porridge. Now we're warriors, drank any in college. Notorious, like Christopher Wallace. I'ma say it, I'ma spray it, I'm not gonna stop. They can't take me away, I got my
Bass more
Glock.
consistent
On my
now.
days and I pave, I just don't trust. But if the shape figure 8, I'm just gonna fuck. Yeah.
Listen
Let
to
me
the
Shayo.
percussions.
Cause I got my
Boxed in.
PTSD straight off the
And in.
road.
Cut.
Yeah.
Chorus.
I just want to see let me Shayo. I just want to see
Now we get the bass.
Shayo. I just want to see let me Shayo.
What goes around comes around, that's karma. But I'm here standing still, big baller. Do my dirt, pray to God, our Father. Pass me the any, cause I don't need what goes.
Okay, just very quickly, right, we're into the bridge part of the track now, and it's really smart what they've done. You know, using Tion Wayne to hold that bridge rather than Darkoo is smart, because if you think about it, we've just come out of the chorus where Darkoo is driving that. So to give us the bridge with Tion Wayne creates a really nice shift, a nice kind of contrast within that track, whilst kind of achieving the objective of giving us something that's slightly different before we then go back into another chorus, right? Let's just go back very quickly on that one.
What goes comes around, that's karma. But I'm here standing still, big baller. Do my dirt, pray to God, our Father. Pass me the any, cause I don't need what. What goes around, comes around, that's karma.
Filter being applied to the percussions again, listen.
Do my dirt, pray to God, our
Stand in.
Pass me the any, cause I don't need water.
Back into the chorus.
I just want to see Hennessy, let me Shayo. I just want to see Shayo. I just want to see Hennessy, let me Shayo.
And there's that effect, that higher range effect, man. Just listen very quickly.
I just want to see Shayo. I just want to see
There.
let me Shayo.
Smart.
I just want to see.
Okay, right, just quickly to explain what I mean by smart, right? So most of the time when we get into an outro, they kind of reduce the track. So they'll kind of take some of the percussions out, they take some of the instruments out and just leave you with the kind of bare bones stuff. But what they've done here is they've gone, you know what, we ain't doing that, man. Actually, we're going to shift it up in the outro, right? So they've actually taken us up in pretty much every level. Those vocals, much more kind of, again, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And listen to the bass, man. The bass is different as well, right? Let's go back very quickly. Right, here we go. Listen to it shift. There. Listen to the bass.
I just want to see Shayo. I just want to see Hennessy, let me Shayo.
Nice cut.
So bring more Shayo for my guys in the club, in the town. We turn up the
Another one.
Get your sorrows. See the way Shayo and the booze, they make us take over. On God, all the blessings are blessings from God. All the money we spend.
Now they're gonna take us out.
Oh, I just wanna see.
Bangs, mate. Okay, that's it for me. If you want to see more breakdown and analyses videos, there'll be things popping up on the screen right now. Other than that, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I will see you in the next one.